There seems to be this avalanche of C, D, and F list entertainers trying to evoke and insert Black people into this situation with Israel and Gaza.
What's going on, people, and welcome back again on another episode today. How are you doing? I hope you guys are doing good, and if you're joining for the very first time, I see you. Thank you so much for being here today. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Juliana Margarle's apology. If you don't know, a few days ago, around the end of November, she was on a podcast and she went on a very long rant dragging Black people, saying Black people have been brainwashed to hate the Jews. She was saying this with all confidence in the world, like she was standing on business. But everything went left when she came back online to apologize for saying Black people have been brainwashed to hate the Jews. When she called the Black community out about being brainwashed, she asked the host if the host had seen the Ken Burns documentary and said every Black person should go watch that documentary. She said the Jews were standing with Black people doing Jim Crow, and now it's so sad that Black people are not supporting the Jews in what is going on. This woman went on this crazy rant and was legit pissed that Black people are supporting the Palestine. This has sparked some conversation on TikTok, and without wasting much time, let's check out what the people are saying about the Juliana's apology that we don't know if it is genuine.
I've agreed to stand for white liberals, and at this point it almost feels as though they are trying to intentionally cause emotional injury to Black people. I was just on Twitter, and there's a video going viral of Juliana Margarle is talking about the Blacks, and in particular how Palestinians hate Black people, and how as the Blacks, the Palestinians would behead us and then play with our disembodied heads. And it's well known that white people fantasize about violence against Black people, but something that's always bothered me is just how often they toy with how much Black people are hated. Like, white liberals make it plain how much they hate us. They see their presidents in solidarity with us as like charity for us. And then if we find solidarity with any other oppressed peoples that they are also oppressing, they go around and tell us how much those people hate us, knowing full well that that is the anti-Blackness they exported. And this is not to say the Palestinians feel like this at all, but the certainty with which they speak about how much Black people are hated by every other group of people, and then cast us as naive and unintelligent for seeing ourselves in other people, you make it plain you hate us and you think we don't know.
The good wife, Juliana Margarle, says that she wants to apologize for saying that Black people have been brainwashed to hate Jewish people. She appeared on a podcast called The Backroom with Andy Ostroy on November the 21st, where she was discussing the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. And she stated that Black people should be completely supporting Israel, but have not been, because we've been brainwashed to hate Jewish people. She goes on to say that Black people should watch a 2022 documentary called The U.S. and the Holocaust, because she doesn't know who's been teaching us all this time. And she feels that watching that documentary, we will see how the Yazidis got their playbook from how the United States treated slaves during the Jim Crow South. I would like to inform Juliana Margarle that Black people were not slaves during Jim Crow, because slavery had ended for almost 70 years. And that categorizing liberated Black people as slaves, even in today's context, reveals her underlying beliefs of how she really feels about Black people and her inability to recognize them as liberated citizens of the United States. She then goes on to say that where is the history lesson in that? Because the entire Jewish community stood with Black people and fight for civil rights. And because the fact that the entire Black community isn't standing with them, to her, it says either that they just don't know about history or they've been brainwashed to hate Jewish people. I would like to introduce Juliana Margarle to Maurice Berger. He is the author of the book called White Lies, since Juliana thinks that we don't read and we don't know about history. Maurice, who is a Jewish man who did fight for civil rights for African Americans in the artistic space, started his book off with a prologue about his mother. Moments after a television news bulletin announced that Martin Luther King Jr. was dead, my mother said that he deserved to die. His mother, who was also Jewish and did not like black people, felt that Martin Luther King was a troublemaker and that he was ungrateful to those brave and foolish white people who stood by his side in the civil rights movement. He goes on to say the things that my mother said about Dr. King were not inconsistent with some of the other things that she tried to teach me and my sister, that only light-skinned blacks were worthy of our attention and respect, that black people smell like baked beans, that black people were generally not as smart as white people, and that we should refer to black people as... I would also like to inform Juliana Margarle that while you are horrified by the fact that your statements upset black people, we are not horrified by that, and we do not give a fuck about your apology. And while we know that Israel does not equal Judaism or Jewish, we also know that not all Jewish people fought for civil rights. And therefore, your statement that black people should completely support Israel is a fallacy. And you can keep your damn apology.
Let's rate Juliana Margarle's apology. Obviously, you guys know it's a 0 out of 10, but we're just going to go through the motions on this one, okay? So she apologized after saying Black Palestine supporters have been brainwashed to hate Jews, which is not totally accurate because people were more upset about her delivery and the confidence in which she shared her disgusting, problematic, toxic white supremacist beliefs, but also the 10 waves of undercurrent that included Islamophobia, homophobia, etc., whatever. In a statement released exclusively to Deadline, she says, "I am horrified by the fact that the statements I made on a recent podcast offended the Black, not plural, LGBTQIA plus communities I truly love and respect. I want to be 100% clear. Racism, homophobia, sexism, or any prejudice against anyone's personal beliefs or identity are abhorrent to me, full stop. Throughout my career, I've worked tirelessly to combat hate of any kind and anti-Semitism, speak out against terrorist groups like Hamas, and forge a united front against discrimination. I did not intend for my words to sow further division, for which I am sincerely apologetic." Of course, a whole lot of nothing, and I might just do a Google search to just quickly fact check and see what other terrorist groups have you been speaking out about, babe? With that said, if I was going to give Juliana any advice on how to frame her apology, I would do it like this. 1, cross out nearly all of it, including the truly half of this you spent talking about your career and the work that you do. Start with this. I am horrified of the photos, videos, news, and actions I've seen of the genocide in Gaza. Then we'll move on to, I want to be 100% clear. I do not support the actions of Israel. The actions of Israel are abhorrent to me, full stop. Then you're done, hon. As an ally, as a Black woman, as someone who understands solidarity and community, and as someone who was on your offending list, I'm going to basically go back to the first question I asked you in the last video, Jules, which is, why are we even in this? I'm going to speak on behalf of all the Black people and even overstep my place into the queer community as well.
These people who want us to call them they, them, or whatever they want us to call them.
To say that we don't want your apology. We don't even need it. We didn't even ask for it. If you were ever going to open your mouth in a moment of contrition and reflection, the words that should have came out of your mouth, Jules, should not have been directed towards us, because we don't need them right now. Jules, let's use our brains for a second and consider the reason why you were even mad at those queer Black Columbia University students. Because they were what? Because of what? Yes, because of that. And we also noticed you conveniently forgot to include Muslim people in this little section here as well, Jules.
You fucking idiots. You don't exist. Like, you're even lower than the Jews. A, you're Black, and B, you're gay. And you're turning your back against the people who support you?
Okay, so I want to talk about this Juliana Margarle's situation. I've struggled with her comments, honestly, and a lot more than I thought I would, given that this is a rich white woman who I don't know. So it feels like her comments should not affect me all that much, given that I don't know her. But they have, and I've really been trying to get my thoughts clear on why they made me so angry, why they hurt so much. And I think I'm ready to articulate it. Now, one of the reasons for sure is that I love The Good Wife. It is one of my favorite shows of all times. I've rewatched it a million times, and now it's tainted. Okay, so there's that, for sure, there's that. But bigger than that is, I have tried, since the October 7th attacks and since everything that's unfolded, I have tried to hold space, mentally, emotionally, for what I am hearing the American Jewish community say in terms of feeling abandoned, feeling hurt,
feeling afraid. I have tried to hold space for that and put myself in their shoes, because that's what it means to be empathetic, and empathy is important to me. And I have tried. And when I put myself in their shoes, I think about how, on October 7th, the Jewish community suffered the worst attack since the Holocaust. There's extreme fear, extreme grief, extreme anger. And particularly if you're here in America and you're Jewish, there's grief, and the world is grieving with you on October 7th, but by October 8th, October 9th, it feels like the voices have shifted, and people are now focusing on Palestinians, people are now focusing on Gaza, people are now focusing on the pain and the fear of a whole nother group, and you've been forgotten, you've been abandoned, and what's worse, you are being villainized in some ways. I can understand, I can put myself in those shoes and understand how hurtful that is. Or at least I can try, right? To understand how that would be hurtful, how that would be painful, how that would feel like real abandonment. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with that stance, right? I think that stance lacks some nuance. But I also think when you're grieving, you're not going to be the queen of nuance, okay? When you're grieving, when you're scared, when you're angry, you're not going to be the queen of nuance. And I can understand that. And so I have been trying to hold space so that I'm not just living in a place of anger all the time, so that I am living in a place of empathy, because I think it's important. So then to hear what Juliana said, which was basically a big fuck you to the entire Black community, calling us brainwashed for supporting the Palestinian cause. So now you think I'm dumb, I'm not smart enough to think critically about an issue and come to this conclusion. No, I've been brainwashed because I'm stupid. To say the things that she said, honestly, it just makes me feel like, why am I sitting here trying to be empathetic? Why am I sitting here for you, right? Why am I sitting here trying to hold space for you when you aren't trying to hold space for me? You just gave me a big fuck you. You just told me I'm dumb and everyone in my community. And it makes me so angry, and it makes me feel like, why am I trying? And I don't want to feel like that. I want to hold this space. I want to hold this empathy. That is why I think it was so hurtful. That is why it feels like it is an invitation for me to stop trying, when that's not what I want to do. It feels like your words were meant to drive a huge wedge between our communities, when I think a lot of us have been actively trying to avoid that and mend bridges. And honestly, that just makes me really sad.
What do you guys think about what this Stitches said? Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. So basically, what Juliana said is that Black people are dumb, they can't think for themselves, like they are turning their back to people who supported them during the civil rights movement, even if they supported them during the civil rights movement. So this lady is saying that Black people should throw their empathy out of the door and just support these people who have been mass murdering kids, who have been mass murdering and oppressing these people for the past 70+ years. That's what this lady is saying. I hope she knows that there is nothing she can say, there is no amount of anti-Blackness that she can spew that would justify the killing of kids. These people have been colonized and oppressed for the longest, and now they said enough is enough. But you want people to support the oppressor just because you felt that they stood up or they supported Blacks during the civil rights movement. When she was talking about how brainwashed Black people are, we thought she meant business. This did not even last long, and this is the reason why so many people are even questioning her apology. Is she apologizing because she's truly sorry? She called herself the non-religion Jew. Why are you bringing Black people into it? This has caused so many people to ask that, is this apology genuine, or you are just apologizing because you feel like there's a lot of backlash coming at you? Like, We don't want to believe that this apology is genuine. We have seen so many of them do the same thing. They are going to spew so many trash on Black people and then come online and said, I am so sorry that my words hurt. You knew your words was going to hurt. You knew in your tone that what you were saying was not making any sense. You called Black people dumb, that they can't think for themselves and they have been brainwashed to hate the Jews. You said it is not right that they are not supporting the people who were murdering kids. At this point, the obsession with Black people is wild. In fact, it has increased now. These people are just obsessed with Black people. There is so much going on in the world. There are a lot of people being killed. I watched a video of a baby or a young girl praying for help that they should come save her family, her grandparents, her mother, her father. In tears, if you see blood on her body, these are people losing their life every single day, and she's more concerned about Black people. She's dragging Black people into it. How are you dragging Black people into it? A lot of people are so confused as to why they are dragging Black people into it, but we need to remember that they're obsessed with Black people. What do you guys think about what she said? What do you think about her apology? Do you think her apology is genuine? Because best believe these people will apologize when they know that they are receiving a lot of backlash or they are about to lose so many deals. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe before you go and turn your bell notification on as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, and I love you guys.